before we add the chain to the other side, let's make sure it looks good from all angles. I feel like it kind of bows out just a bit. Let's take a look at it from the front. Yeah, so I think it's kind of curving out a little too much. Let's go back to that NURBS path and tab into edit mode, and I'll just take the individual points here and kind of move them back just a bit, just to get it a little bit more straight like that, like there's some tension to it. All right, now let's take a look at moving it over to the other side. To do that, we're going to need to select everything once again. So I'll just come over here to the outliner and select all three of these objects. And then what let's do is let's press Shift D and Y, and I'll just drag it over here. And then I'll mirror it over. So with this still selected, let's press Control M and then Y, and that'll mirror it over, and then Enter. Okay, so now let's put these in place. I think this looks pretty good right there. Let's see if, well, let's get a better view of this. Let me join this here to make this a little bit bigger, and then let's get another image. Let's, how about this one here? Yeah, this has a pretty good image of where that chain is supposed to be. So it's, once again, on the right side of that loop piece here. And then it looks like it kind of bows out a little more than this side. This side looks like it's straight. This is kind of curved. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work with the path points here. So let me go to the side view and let's select just this new path. Now the old path is NURBS path 001. This is 002. So let's select that, tab into edit mode, and then let's begin pulling these around. So maybe I'll select one. Yeah, we're going to have to do quite a bit of moving here. So let me hit the B key to border select all of these points and just kind of move them this way until we get this point down here where it's supposed to be. Yeah, something like that. Now let's move these out individually. So I'll grab this and move it out a little bit more. And this one here, let's move that out some. Yeah, so we just want this to be a little bit more curved out like this around that step. So let me grab this and pull these out just a little bit more. All right, let's see how that looks. I feel like this is curving too much. Let me select that path again and grab this point and move this in. So it looks like it's got a little tension there. There we go. Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's tumble around and look at it. Do I also need to adjust it from the front or the back? Let's take a look from the back. I'll press Control 1 and let's go to wireframe. And do I want it exactly in line with the other one? Probably not. Let's move it back a little bit. And I know I'm being a little bit picky for something that we might not even use, but it's fun. Why not have some fun with it? There we go. Okay, let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now, one thing about it, it seems to me like these pieces here maybe should be flat against the vehicle. They're kind of poking out like this, and I feel like if we had, let me see. Well, this has got kind of a nail head or a bolt that it's connected onto. So yeah, it would need to be turned, wouldn't it? And it's going to be a lot easier to turn something like this when it's still part of a path rather than just geometry. So let's go ahead and work on this. I'm going to select this path here. And let's zoom in here. And if I tab into edit mode with the path, I can select this point. And if I change this from global, not local, but to normal, if I click normal, you can see the move gizmo aligns itself with the path, right? With the curved path. And if we then use a tool called tilt, we can actually rotate the path around this z-axis. And you can find the tilt in the curve menu. Let me go up here to curve. Well, let's go to control points. Excuse me, it's control points. And here's your tilt, Control T. Also, if you right click, you can see tilt here under the curve context menu. Once again, they've kind of combined several menus into one here. So if we press Control T and move the mouse, let's see what happens. Control T. And now look, I can kind of spin that around, but look how it's warping the chain link below it. We don't want that. So what let's do is let's extend the curve down to the next control point here. Let's try that. I'll press Control T and let's try this. Let's turn this like that. Now that curve is a little bit more distributed. You can see it's happening. See the twisting here? So you'll never really get rid of it. Let's press Control Z and let's add one more point to it down here and let's see what happens. Control T and let's twist this around like that. Now where's that twisting happening? Well, the twisting's happening right around in here, it looks like. And that's not too bad actually because it's kind of hidden by the step. So that's pretty good. Let's take a look at this other one now. If we come over here, click that path, tab into edit mode, I'll select this point and let's zoom in with the period key on the numpad. And once again, if we hit Control T and turn this, say I turn it this way or this way, either way, we get some serious warping of the chain links here, right? Let's press Control Z and undo that. Let's try and grab this point here and see if we can distribute that warping a little more. So with those two selected, let's press Control T, and I'm going to kind of turn this way like that. Let's try that. Yeah, we've got a little bit of warping here. That's not too bad, though. Let's press Control Z and extend it on down to here and see what happens. So now press Control T again, and let's try and do this. That's not bad, actually. So let's do it this way. Here. Okay. And the warping's happening, well, it's hard to even see where it's happening. It looks like it's happening right down here, and that's not too bad. I don't mind that too much at all. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We could maybe grab this point and move it out just a bit. And also, we could maybe take one of the points down here, like this, and try and use that tilt tool to adjust for the warping a bit. So let's press Control T and see if we can do that. A little bit. We can maybe reduce some of that, like that. That's not too bad. All right. So we've got our chains pretty well in place now. Let's say that this is the way we want them. We like the way they look. Now we want to make sure that we have no modifiers on them, because ultimately we're going to have to apply all the modifiers that we have on here, because when we take it into Unity or any game engine, we're going to lose the modifiers. They don't transfer from Blender into a game engine. So let's go ahead and begin applying these. I'm going to select this part here, the actual chain links, and we've got an array modifier and a curve modifier on here. All right, so let's go ahead and apply the array modifier here, and then let's click apply for the curve modifier. And you may wonder, why do we need that now that we've applied the array? We can just turn it off here, and you can see that it goes back to straight. So we do need that curve modifier, but we want to apply it. I'll hit apply, and now if we choose the original empty and the NURBS path 001 right here, now we can just hit delete and get rid of them. There they go. All right, let's do the same thing over here. Let's select the chain links. Let's click apply for the array and apply for the curve. And then we come up here, select the empty 001 and the NURBS path 002, hit delete, and there we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and combine these two, select these two objects and press Control J. Now, let's see how many polygons this has added to our object here, to our project. So down here, you can see that we've got currently 20,000 tries. All right. Let's come up here to the outliner and hide the torus. It's actually the chains. Let me just rename that. So let's hide this. Click here. And now we've got 13,000 tries. So it adds a significant amount of tries to our project. If we turn that back on and let's select it and let's move this origin to the 3D cursor, I'm going to go ahead and change back to the global transform orientation. And then let's go to Object, Set Origin, and Origin to 3D Cursor. Now let's come over here and add a mirror modifier here. And it looks like we need to apply probably the rotation. So let's press Control A, apply the rotation, and sure enough, there they are over there. Okay, so now let's see how much we've added. Down here now is 27,000. We hide this. 13,000. So we've more than doubled the amount of triangles in the scene just by creating these chains. It's pretty cool though. It looks good, but it's probably too much. I'll go ahead and click Object and Shade Smooth, and there they go. Now, I think it looks really cool, but as we've said, it's probably going to be a bit too much for our final vehicle.